Hi.
Hey, wow,
Good
look
Lord.
at
Yeah,
you.
I'm I'm in my office.
Beauty. I love your office.
Thank you. It's not bad. It's not bad. You
You just cut out.
put into words all that we have done at this house since September of 22, when I surrendered and tried to get into October Dream Driven Day and it was full. So I decided to do MM, which was beautiful because that is so foundational for me still to this moment in time. But we have a roof, a new roof. It's material things. So I get tripped up in that when trying to express what has come out of this that way. Not just what's in here, but what I see every day and how different that showed up for me and then Jason and then the girls. And it just, this is something that would have taken, well, we've been here 21 years, and in the last 2 years, we've done more here than we ever have. There you go.
Wow.
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
so my name is Mr. 2020. You're Beth. We're going to invite the world to dance a freak ton more.
Yay.
And if I can use that as the intro and we just roll through, that'd be brilliant because you nailed it in the way that it can only be nailed when you open up in the past two
You know what's
years.
funny? It's funny because had this opportunity came about, well, before today, I would have been running around, oh my word, writing things down. What am I going to ask him? What am I going to do? And what you have taught me is space, how to create space without loopiness. And that goes right back to MM20,
Yeah.
because the first 2 weeks weave in with everything, this adventure. It just keeps coming back to those, I don't know what you call core fundamentals, I'm not
Yeah.
sure. Just and so it just fascinates me how you weave it, and it's so real because for me experience can only be spoken to if it's been experienced
Yep.
to the depth of whatever the feeling.
I love that we're starting here because when I design a course, uh, I'm always pondering what are the first experiences. In other words, here's where we are now, and here's
Yeah.
where we are now, and that there's in MM we explore what imagining really is in that first week. In Dream Driven Day, we explore something first there that needs to be explored first if you're going to own your day and your destiny. In Remarkable this past year, we started out with Rational Magical because
Mhm.
rational is what gets in the way of everyone's magic.
You
And
are on.
we need rational. Yeah,
Hmm.
you're in your office, so am I. We both are sitting here. We used rational get on the thing together, but
We
magical is the
did.
whole point.
Hmm.
Rational it's the tool. Yeah, it's not the taskmaster. And what you
And it
describe
weaves.
with space versus loopy, that's the
Yeah.
difference.
Yep. And it weaves, and I'm looking at like my notes from last night's remarkable call, and how else can I say it except remarkable,
Yeah.
because it's never the same gig ever. And I don't know how you do that. I do know how you do it because you're magical, because you don't have an agenda. You don't have boom, 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 boom. And let's go back to this and clarify and make sure everything's just so. We move, and you teach how to move, and you teach it so it's fun, and you want to dance, and you want. Today I was talking about shit stories, right? And I said, I love it when 20 says, tell me a different shit story. There's not many people that can come up with something different than what they've been saying all along, because it's almost like it becomes part of their
Yeah.
makeup, part of it, everything. And that's the space that for me, you've taught me to um move out of that. And it makes so much more room for the magical and the possibility over problems and the courage, curious over those other words of concerned or whatever. It's those tiny little word changes. And it's when I really step back and look at all this, it's just like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And then you play. And like I was telling you not too long ago, it solidifies it for me every single time, because I
So,
do
so,
get a little rational.
so your totem animal is a squirrel. You know that. I,
I'm sure.
and I used to teach people how to take walks in the woods.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever I called the course, that's what it was. How to take a walk in the woods.
Mm-hmm.
And most people think that means we're going to walk 4 or 5 kilometers or 10 miles, and we might get 30 yards.
Mm-hmm.
And my question always was, where does a squirrel shit in the woods? Everywhere.
I was just gonna say everywhere.
And we as human beings settle for the same shit story. We go sit on the same freaking throne,
Yeah.
the toilet, and then we don't wipe, and then we stink all day. Versus, how about if we take a shit someplace else? In other words, we get to go on an adventure, because a lot of people can't get from positive, from negative to positive. So we'll go, hey, let's tell a different kind of shit story, shall we? Start someplace different. And then suddenly they discover this thing called creativity.
Mm-hmm.
And then that opens up them to selecting something far more marvelous.
Yeah. It's one opportunity after another. And that's what, again, I'm just so fascinating is the only word I can come up with, because it's like no matter what call or what program, I'm picking up what you're putting down because of the play, because
Yes.
I decided to invest in me, and it's rippling like crazy, which I didn't even know what that meant. And it just makes sense. But I will say, playing is absolutely the way, because it's an everyday thing for me. And it's not like I have it at a special time or anything like that. I just know that it's part of my day. I wake up, it's going to be, well, what we practice, what we play with, what we rub in our hearts.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
it's that
so
stuff.
if you could ask me anything in the next moment without prepping, what would the question that pops up be?
MM, like how how did you how is it so sustainable through everything that you teach? Like, or I don't
Got
know
it.
if it's, you know
So
what I'm
so
saying?
so you know the backstory. You can come to Australia and get a 90-day visitor visa. And
Mm-hmm.
I thought, wouldn't it be cool if we tossed someone like Beth in the cottage for 90 days and we shared 1 cup of coffee together, and that's it, and charged you for
Mm-hmm.
the cup of coffee for $1. So for $1, you get a cup of coffee. We'll chat,
Yep.
and I will go away. And then I'll come see you tomorrow with another cup of coffee. You give me $1. We'll have a little
Mm-hmm.
chat, and then I'll go away. And it was literally 90 days of me noticing, what would I tell Beth next? What would I ask Beth to explore next?
Mm-hmm.
Because if we have a daily dance for 90 days on a visitor visa and you're in the cottage, I want to be looking forward to coming to see you tomorrow.
Mm.
So every lesson, it invites you to do something that even makes you more attractive to me, which makes you more attractive to you, which makes you more attractive, right? And then suddenly it's like, I don't know what I'm learning in this course. I love when I get that update. I have no idea what I'm learning in this course,
Mhm.
but I'm different. Good, good. Keep going. Join us in Remarkable or Dream Driven Day or something else.
More,
Right?
please. More, please. Yes.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nice.
Connections, is for me huge. Like, I don't take it for granted 1 second that this is just super cool. That I'm talking with a dude in Australia that once was in Pennsylvania that, you know, experience the experiences you have. And then from you, I find Sarah and family in Italy. You know, that to me is just, there's so much to that piece.
So
And I know we
so
don't,
so so I got a request for you.
okay,
Ask me about unintended consequences.
I don't even know what that means.
We'll
20, what
find out.
what about unintended consequences?
Thank you, Beth. I've been dying to answer this question for ages. So you joined a course and you
Uh-huh.
made a friend, and that friend is actually family.
Hmm.
And that family shows you where your family came from. Here's a photo. Come visit.
Hmm. Hmm.
Unintended consequences. I think of so the joke is this. Way back in the old days, they said, I tell the story in the poem. They said we're gonna have low flow toilets and we're gonna change the cistern from 2 liters, or I'm sorry, from 4 liters down to 2.5. And what happens is you have to flush the toilet 4 times for the poop to go down. Right. And it's like the unintended consequence of just making something smaller has made it waste more. And that's the joke, right? It takes 10 liters now of water to flush some poop versus 4 because we tried to think it through too much. On,
Yes.
on the on the other hand, there's this lovely thing called a bidet. We don't have one yet, but I think they look marvelously fun, right? And it's like, who would have thought we would have talked about this on the thing, right? But it's the unintended consequence of if we try to go 1, 2, 3, 4 through our entire lives, it kills the magic. But
Hmm.
when we open up to something, so 1, 2, 3, 4 leads to very weird unintended consequences, as we all know. But when we
Hmm.
open up to something, the unintended consequences, I found a sister, I found a brother, I found a place, I found a sofa I can sleep on. I don't
Hmm.
ever have to go to the Ritz or the Hilton. I can sleep on a sofa.
Hmm.
The unintended consequences, uh, when we open up, are quite marvelous. When we
Hmm.
live by sequence, the unintended consequence is always an enemy.
Well, they probably don't show up as much
They do, and
either,
they do, but they
but you
show up
don't.
in ways. But they show up in having to flush the toilet 4 times.
Okay, that makes sense.
Ah, right. I'm going to form a
I got it.
boundary. I'm going to get married, and I'm going to form a boundary with her and protect my assets. What do you think that does for the rest of the 40 years, right? The
Yeah,
unintended consequences, we're holding out on each other
right.
versus I'm going to get married and we're going to open up and we're going to discover how to drive each other nuts and how to bring out the lovely crazy in each other at the same time. And
Hmm.
marriage gets to become a medley uh, if we open up.
Hmm. Exactly. And you and Victoria magically do that. It's such a divine dance. It's real. I've told you this 1,000 times, but you're so real how you like, okay, like experiences. Like, do they
Yes.
just come to you when you go to teach? I mean, you don't
Continuously.
you don't often know what you're gonna say. So like you go back into like people that you talk about, like in Pennsylvania or whatever.
Yeah.
And um you have this way of pulling that and teaching to do that. So you go back to fighting fit.
Yes.
Um
What's cool is I get to draw upon the past, which is something we all do.
Mm-hmm.
But I've also
Yeah,
learned not to rely on drawing from the past because that'll just put me in orbit.
right.
I get to also draw from possibility. So when we draw from the past to build the future, we're going outside, inside, outside, inside. But whenever
Mm-hmm.
we open up to the upside, suddenly the possibility shows up. I was in a chat this morning, and in the chat this morning, uh, I needed something to say
Yep.
that wasn't going to take it into rational. And I wrote uh, something like, "This reminds me of Elias Howe." Right now,
Mm-hmm.
here's the funny thing. Right, and this is with a friend of ours. Uh, so she said something, I said something, she said something, I said something. There was a lovely back and forth, and I got it's time to open up. And so when I open, I sat here for like an eighth of a second, and I got yeah, sewing machine. Who invented the sewing machine? I get how this is like a sewing machine, inside, outside, upside down. So I wrote. So I perplexityed who invented the sewing machine because I couldn't remember. It was Elias Howe. So I type it in, and the response that I get back was, "You didn't know my grandmother was a seamstress." And I wrote back, "Upside did." And this goes back to the remarkable call we just had. So most
Right.
people won't
Yeah.
understand it. But I'm not that fucking clever. I would draw on a resource going into my past if I was just playing the human game.
Right.
Playing being 100% human and 100% divine, uh, the question pops in, who invented the sewing machine? Oh, look, I'll look it up. I look it up, I type it in, you wouldn't believe. Yeah, and it took the conversation in a lovely, wow direction.
Yeah.
And this is where we all get to play, because if we try to play, we all have sequence every day: morning, afternoon, evening, nighttime, spring, summer, fall, winter. uh
Mm-hmm.
Eat and poop, we've got cycles. They're predictable: get dirty, get
Yep.
clean, get dirty, get clean. But we also, what we really need is that opening up to the magic. And the magic, it involves, yeah, a seeming gamble, a seeming risk, a seeming lunacy.
Mm-hmm.
Luna, the up in the sky. There we go. There's some goodies. And it's just so good to be able to go. I don't have to rely on my history of humanity, my 58 years. I can open up to the timeless. And
Yeah.
we used to say on the show, Victoria would say the timeless wisdom of the ages. What a joke, and how true.
Exactly.
Yeah. And we need humor. Otherwise we get serious. And serious takes
Mm-hmm.
us into one, two, three, four. Yeah. And humor allows us to experience the never ending nows.
And the way I picked up on that from your teaching was emergency or emergent.
Yes.
And when
Nice.
I could determine that things were not an emergency, it changed so many things for me.
Yeah.
Again, opening up space that I was cluttered up with from God knows what. And so when you when I surrender to that, and acceptance is another big one, 20, you know that. I love that word. And it's when I really surrender to that in the moment, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. And then there's another beginning and another one and another one.
And another one.
And it just keeps going. And when I come back to now, which is what I truly desire is to be, just be, you, it's magical for me how I'm doing things. It's just different.
Yeah.
I don't even know. Sometimes it's more than all the time it's more than words.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's so
Nice. What'd you find up there?
trust, well, trust and faith, you know, that's another thing. Like you I find that I have more trust and faith in me, and I go with it.
Ask me about trust and faith.
Trust and faith. 20. Talk to me about trust, trust and faith.
Beth, I'm awesomely touched by this. I don't bother trusting me. I if I have to trust me, I've got to base it on something. On the other,
Okay.
so what's that something going to be? My past, and then I can debate where did I do good, where did I do bad, right, wrong, good, bad, all that stuff. I will get lost in my head forever.
Mm-hmm.
So I get to trust in trust. I get to have faith in faith. In other words, I get to build these little
Yeah.
love loops that have me
Yeah.
go, am I trusting? Am I trustworthy? Wow. To be trustworthy, to be
Mm-hmm.
trusting, I have to
Yeah.
remember who I am and how I work in this moment. In other words, faith is loyalty to the unseen reality. Your
Mm-hmm.
faith in God is measured by your confidence in you.
Mm-hmm.
And if I go, well, I have faith in me because I've done $10,000 launches before, I've done $20,000 this before.
Oh, it's so
Yeah,
different. It's so different.
it's horrible. Because I can be proven or proven wrong, or I can discover the dance of the moment. If I am
Yeah.
trustworthy, if I am trusting,
Mm-hmm.
uh, wow, your faith in God is measured by your confidence in you. It is your Father's good pleasure. Who are we really? We are 100% divine and 100% human. And the dance between the two that we reveal to ourselves in the moment gives us the energy for everything, everywhere, all the time.
And that's what the happy chemicals show up from, that's what I love so much about those, because it weaves so perfectly in what you just said.
Hey, ask me about the happy chemicals.
20, can you talk to me? Tell me about the happy chemicals.
Ready? This is ridiculous, isn't it? It's so much fun.
I love it because this is like my first interview and I'm not even asking the question. I mean, I don't.
But you're bringing forth the subject. You got it?
I got it because I didn't want to have no. It's the first time that I didn't prepare for something, so it was like
Yeah,
really
beauty.
cool.
So you're speaking forth. You're presenting. It's a present. It's a declaration. I'm just rephrasing it in the form of a question, right? Just for fun.
I love it.
Without the happy chemicals, what we will do is create crises so that we can have spikes, so we can notice that we're still alive. In other
Mm-hmm.
words, without the happy chemicals being our dominant exploration, happy chemical states, without the happy
Right.
chemical states being our primary dominant exploration, we go, all right, what can I put off to the point where there will be a crisis so I can experience a spike in energy, a focus of attention, and discover I'm alive?
Mm-hmm.
All right, what can I do tomorrow for that? I'll watch some inspirational and motivational videos that'll make me feel good, but I won't do anything until
It's a
something
Band-Aid.
crashes.
20.
It's all band-aids versus the
Mm-hmm.
happy chemical states. We get to explore the status that we truly are, the connections that are always available for us, the comfort, the anticipation of what will 20 and Beth talk about next. Who knows, right?
I know. It's pretty
And then
squirrely.
the actual honest to God endorphin of the belly laughter versus 20. My next question for you is this. Nice.
Yeah. It was like last night I went on Otter and I was just like firing stuff up, and I never even picked it up today because
Nice.
it, I did what I did in the moment. It felt awesome, but I didn't get all freaky and go try to find it and do exactly what I said last night because I'm different from last night. Like from the remarkable call, from hearing, oh my gosh, it was just ridiculously good, and gave so much to me, and bless me. And that's it. You told me, be the blessing, be blessed, and I am every time. I am the blessing.
Yes.
And it's such a cool gig because it's just this much time, it's very short. And I am big, I can do that. But I just got squirrely on you. Where were we going?
That's perfect. Ask me about different, because you brought up different.
20.
Yeah.
Tell me about different.
In this marvelous existence that we are, in the vastness and fastness of us, asserting better than or worse than, or things are getting better, things are getting worse, depending upon the election, good, bad, right, wrong, to assert any direction like this in this marvelous vastness and fastness experience that we are, is ludicrous. And I love that word, ludicrous. I have to add the in the middle. Ludicrous, right? If we scan for better or worse, we have to dissociate. We get to become a bystander, and then the world passes us by. On the other hand, if we're just inviting ourselves to notice, I'm going to take a walk in the garden shortly and get ready for the show. And when I allow myself to simply notice what's different in my garden, in my day, in my physiology, I get to celebrate noticing. Your awareness of being is God. When I'm aware of being and aware of what's being, God walks in the garden. On the other hand, judgmentalism makes me judge, mental, and an ism. I become a religion, a court-appointed asshole, and I have to sentence things, and it's just, I get to sit behind a bench instead of participating. In other words, I feel benched. In other words, my first 8 years of grade school, then I went into high school. My first, up till grade 7, grade 8, when I got into martial arts, I was benched for the whole time. I was the uncoordinated kid. And I became the professional athlete from year 8 to 12. Wow. And there's the difference, because I didn't choose to better myself. I choose to be a completely different human being. And that happened on Christmas Day 2023. You've seen what's happened with that.
Oh, I'm witness to that, man.
Yeah.
I've watched it. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And for you to do it is huge to share with us. You're not just throwing something out there and going and doing whatever. You play with us.
Yes. So if we're shooting for better, who has a better manifesting program? Who's a better NLP guy? Who's a better whatever? How do I make my life better? Which is better, grass-fed beef or range-fed beef? Better, 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 better drives us nuts versus what's the different I want to dance today? And here we are. Yeah, I could have never anticipated you being in your office, us doing this way. And now I get to anticipate what I can't possibly figure out, which is, who does this call bless? How does it bless them? Because if you and I walked into this with a preset, it would not be anywhere near what it is now. It's a dance, not a patterned line dance.
It's again, it's fascinating, and it's a way of life. I don't want to sound like a bumper sticker, but it's a choice. What I give love and life to is right there in front of me all the time now, where before I may not have recognized that. I wouldn't have realized what I was missing out by not just incorporating these seemingly small wins or thing, whatever.
Yes. Spices.
Attention to the flashlight. Okay, the flashlight of attention. whoa, right? Where am I shining that light? Yet it's different from the toilet paper rolls up to your eyes.
Yes.
So it's fun because you play with that and you discover different along the way. You can't help but discover different because I don't walk around with toilet paper rolls on my eyes, right? Or
Yeah.
a flashlight. But
I
to
I
feel it in
notice
my heart and gut is just like, what?
I notice we've got to get it below the shoulders so that we can get above the head. So when we can get anything
Okay.
below the shoulders,
Yep.
we get to rise. So we get to crouch low and jump high. So when we can get something that's serious called perceptual change, and go from and use toilet rolls stuck up to your head, so you can
Right.
just so you can get the lesson experientially. Something
Mhm.
happens in your being, your bodiness, which allows you to rise higher and discover, oh wow, where else does this show up? Let me see. Instead of thinking, oh, that was a good lesson, end of line, next lesson. Arg.
No, because you feel it when you're up there. You feel it when you're up there, and
Yes.
I, I want to feel that more than anything else. But I'm not mistaken that I won't have problems in this world.
Yes.
That was an acceptance thing. So I remember writing years ago that I just want to feel like I'm going on vacation every day. Well, come on, Beth. But I will tell you that I absolutely feel more like I'm going that feeling more often than not. But
The,
it's because of the investing. Like I'm getting it. It's not just, yeah, 20, I got it. I'm having a dream driven day. Cool. See you later. No, it's like it's here.
yes. Ask me about vacations and holidays, and then we'll
Right.
figure out how to
So
then we'll figure out how to tidy it up.
okay. Okay, 20 vacations and holidays. You like you talk about Christmas every day. You can have that gift to yourself every day.
Yeah. I
Talk to me about
notice
that.
I notice I don't need a holiday or a vacation every day.
Okay, there you
I,
go.
by not needing it, it invites it. So it's sort of like the needy, nerdy guy. I used to be the needy, nerdy guy, and chicks didn't dig it. This was back in the 80s. Maybe they dig them now. I don't know. But being the needy, nerdy guy back in the 80s, early 80s, that's not cool. Now, becoming the cool martial arts guy who's just having a lot of fun opened up all kind of doorways. And
Was
so,
it
but
your perception of you or it was their perception of you?
exactly. So the play with possibility invited me to notice I can be happy in my own skin, which
Mm.
invites you to come closer to my skin. I
Yep.
love my song. I go to the pool and I go and I sing. I've got me under my skin. And people go, you're ridiculous. And I said,
Oh
and
my
you're
God.
happier.
Mm-hmm.
And so am I. Because
Mm-hmm.
I love being in my skin. And I invite you to come home to yours.
And
Because
that's
you're
such
here
a
having an
gift.
adventure. Yeah, isn't it?
It really is. Because who else's skin could I be in?
Yeah. It's funny because people tell me I feel so comfortable around you. I could tell you anything. Oh, good. Because I'm not the judgmental God sitting behind the bench. I'm just wanting to take a walk with you in the garden we are and explore where else squirrels can shit. Oh my
Yep.
God, how much fun.
I have to say this because you mentioned judge and jury and benches and all that. My
Yeah.
sister-in-law was over today and she was kind of beating herself up about something and I said, "Honey, there's no judge and jury here. So what don't do it to yourself?" And we tend to do that as humans.
Yeah.
And I guess that's kind of where I was going with the trust part is like I know what it feels in my gut. Now I'm responding to that thanks to this play.
Yeah.
Like it's always been there. It's everything here has always been there. It's my mind that thought it was in control somewhere along the line, and whatever happened, and then it just happened and happened and happened until it didn't.
You get to lose your mind and come back to your senses. In other
Beautiful.
words,
Seriously.
we we get to live life and let the mind be the tool that it was designed to be, instead of trying to
Mm.
let it wants to control everything.
And it's just,
Versus we
it's,
can, yeah. Go ahead.
well, I was just gonna say, it's just so cool when you get this. Like when it clicks, it's like,
Yes,
what? And then of course you want more, please, because then the curiosity, you can't
mm,
help it. And that's the feeling I taught that about holidays and vacations. That's an
yes,
everyday thing when I surrender to that.
yes.
But I didn't know how to surrender to that until this dance.
Yes.
So thank you over and over. I just, it's nuts. I mean, last night there, we were all over the place on the remarkable call. We were, but we weren't. Just different shares took us in different.
I
You
I
can't script that.
I love how what got drawn into the tapestry was all perfect. Because
Yeah.
even a tiny little comment, like from the lady at the end of the call,
Yeah.
opened up a door. And then
Mm-hmm.
another tiny little comment earlier opened up a door. And instead of it being frazzly straight, it all came together in a lovely way. And it
Beautiful.
brings us back to trust, to faith.
Mhm.
I don't need to control. All I
No.
get to do is I get to feel the wave
Mm-hmm.
and be the surfer.
Mm-hmm. And the
So
whole water, it's just, yeah.
yeah. So I gotta take a walk in the garden and get ready for this show. How do we button it up? What do you reckon?
I reckon that this couldn't be more divinely timed because in Australia, it's my birthday.
I know. I was gonna sing to you. That was my surprise. So I'll do it now.
Oh,
Ready?
yes, I
Ready?
am. I
Okay,
am.
here we go. Happy
Okay.
birthday to Beth. You're not like the rest. Happy birthday, dear Beth. Happy birthday to you.
Why don't you bless
So,
me?
so my mom bought me a little plaque, which I gave away. And on this little plaque that I gave away, it said, God danced the day you were born. And I get that God dances, the God within us, the God that we are, the divine dance that we are. Dancers dances every time we celebrate being alive. Today's your special day here. You will have your special day there tomorrow. And you get to have a special day, a birthday every day.
Yes, I do.
I, I
And
love
I
you,
thank you.
Beth.
I
Oh,
love
and I
you,
got Emmett.
20. Love you. Love Victoria. Give her my love. Big
Mm.
squeezes. And yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Love
Thank you.
you.
Bye. Thank you.